Hello, everyone. Welcome this afternoon to our interview with Barbara Bergmeier. I'm very happy to have her here. Barbara Bergmeier is Executive Director, Industrial Operations at Jaguar Land Rover and a member of the Board of Directors at JLR. And as you all know, we're talking about mentoring and reverse mentorship today. And yeah, mentoring is a topic close to my heart. I'm Marion Englert. I'm head of comms and marketing in retail-led operations, automotive, and I'm based in Dubai. And I'm saying hello to Barbara in the UK. And yeah, I throw in some statistics before I start throwing my questions at Barbara. And what I came across, what was really interesting is that 76% of people think that mentors are important, but only 37 have one. This is actually a quite sad statistics because it also says that people with mentors are happier at their current jobs than those without. Brings me to Barbara. Barbara, mentorship has always shaped your leadership journey, right? In your role at JLR and also in your previous career. So, what does mentorship mean to you? What does it make for you?
Thank you, Marion, first of all, for having me. Hello to everyone online. I'm really excited to be here because similar to Marion, this topic is very close to my heart, as you can imagine. So what does mentorship mean and bring to me? I think when I was really young, it took me a while to understand the concept. And I thought maybe as many people at the beginning, I thought they think I need help. That's why they offer the mentor. But of course, I learned very quickly that you can have an official mentor, or even an unofficial mentor helping you. And for me, I was born and raised in a male-dominated environment. So I many times had also male mentors. And I was bouncing ideas. They were helping me in developing my own confidence. So I think mentorship has really been very relevant for me, and it's still very relevant. And I try to also encourage other people to go into mentorship.
Wow, that's really cool, and I'm the same. And also to our audience, if you have questions for Barbara and on the topic, please let us know, and we will make some space at the end of this session to answer all your questions. So don't be shy. Throw the questions in there, throw it out there, and we're happy to answer. And coming back to you, Barbara, you said you had a lot of mentors early on. But was that something official, or were these just people you looked up to and asked them for guidance? How did you structure your mentor or mentee journey, actually?
Yeah, I think this was also evolving over time. When I first got a kind of an executive position in one of my previous companies, I was offered from another senior woman to my boss, and he told me basically, Barbara, if you want to have another female, she was a very successful lady, feel free to reach out to her, what I did. But there was also then later in the company an official mentorship program, even but especially for women. And when I was really young, I didn't know whether this would be good as a woman to step into a mentorship program only for women. But I think over time, I got more and more used to it, and I got more and more advantage, and I started to have my own mentees already. So I think it has been growing quite significantly. Oh, you have
Okay.
somebody has a busy background, obviously.
Yeah, it seems like this, but we're good. Barbara, you said you were hesitant about a woman-only mentorship role. Is it because we are all working in a male-dominated industry, or was it more because you thought it's too much of a niche? Is that how you can put it?
Yeah, you have to imagine it was 30 years ago, approximately 25 to 30 years ago. And I thought maybe why should I have a benefit my male colleagues do not have. But then I found out there are also a lot of mentorship programs for the overall population. So I think this was clarified quite quickly. But I guess my point was I didn't want to have a special treatment. And I always wanted to be, just one executive in the company and not the female executive.
Understood. So that brings me also to how did that define your personal approach to mentorship, and how does has this evolved maybe over time? So how do you structure your journey with your mentees?
Yeah, I think what was very significant, and I share this all the time, especially if it comes to women, because my male superior and later my mentor, he basically encouraged me to step in my first leadership role. He knew more about my capabilities than I did. And that's why I said, okay, this was so powerful. And basically, the start of my career, that's why I'm always repeating it for other people also to maybe envisage it. For me, I think, how do I structure this? Yeah, of course, no one has enough time to deliver everything we want to deliver, but I spend quite a lot of time with networking, with sponsoring, with mentoring, and we might even quickly touch also what is sponsoring, what is mentoring, and I try to find time. Even you can also have a lunch together, you can have a dinner together, you can have a breakfast together, you can utilize a long travel. So I try to be as creative as possible to use as much time as I can. And digital means, of course, topics like we do today, everyone being connected, digital helps a lot. You can go over time zones, you can go over the sea without a big effort, and you can still have mentoring sessions or sponsorship sessions. And that's what I tried to do. So I will never, kick this out of my calendar. No matter how hard it is, I will keep it.
That's impressive, Barbara. And what I like about your approach is that you do not limit it only to the workplace, but that you incorporate it in your whole life, basically. And you just said something that it helped you to go into your leadership role as well. And when we are in the Women Automotive Network, and one of our topics is a lot about the underrepresentation of women in leadership roles still in 2024. And so, do you think that mentorship can contribute to empower more women to step up and be brave enough to take on these leadership roles? Because I don't think it's that we are not enabled to, but it's just maybe we are not brave enough.
Yes, I think that's sometimes the experience I get or I have. And so we in JLR are also heavily working on increasing the executive female representation. So we aim for 30% by 2030, and we are now just above 20%. So this is not good enough. We have a high ambition, and that's why we also have mentorship programs here in JLR. But I think it's really important to encourage women, because what we sometimes intend to do or tend to do is, if there are 10 experiences needed and a woman has, for example, 9 really decent experience, then usually a woman talks about the one experience she never had before. And I always encourage everyone not to do this, because if you are comparing this to a male interview, they would always say, oh, I'm the biggest and the greatest, and I can do this, even if they only have 7 out of 10. And I think oftentimes I experience us very, very self-critical, or even more self-critical than probably male candidates. And that's why it's really important that we help encouraging ourselves and the candidates to really throw their hat in the ring for a role, and also to tell everyone about their ambition. That's another topic, to make it very clear that you have the ambition to make a great career, that you expect your boss to help you to grow. And this is something you need to request as well. And a sponsor or a mentor can really help you encouraging this views.
That is true. I can speak from experience there as well. And you gave me, see, now I don't know the English word for this, a Stichwort for my next question, a hint for my next question. Um, you're working, I assume, with a lot of young people in as mentees. And as we're also talking about reverse mentorship, how much did you learn from the younger generation of men and women who are coming up? I'm in my 50s. I think sometimes I'm the old dog and I cannot learn any more tricks. But then, also through my journey as a mentor, I figured, wow, there's so much more to learn. And that's, I think, something very rewarding. What's your experience with that? Do you also learn from your younger mentees?
Yes, Marion, but I have to say, I would say I'm in the same range. And I think we still can learn tricks that they only need the right treats for us, right? And we know how to learn new things. No, this was, of course, not serious. But actually, I have to say that I, on purpose, tried to get out of my comfort zone. And it can be with the younger population who are expecting completely different things or see the life and the work life through a different lens. But this is not only true for younger, it could also be true for people with a different background if it comes to diversity. And that's something I really have learned. As soon as I feel a little bit or even very uncomfortable, I always say, okay, I'm learning now. Because usually years ago I said, oh, this is uncomfortable, I don't know what it means. But I have identified, for me, feeling uncomfortable and stepping out of this comfort zone is really good, because then you are evolving and growing. And that's true for every age group, I would say. And if it comes to reverse mentoring, I just had a reverse mentoring last year. I had Saima as a wonderful mentor. She was a business manager in another area, and I was the mentee. And actually, we worked together 6 months, and it was one of the most wonderful experiences I had in business, because she taught me so much to see, the other angle. And she was even explaining about her religion, about culture, about habits. And I could ask all these questions I might not dare to do it in public. And I got a lot of feedback and a lot of support. And we are still, of course, in contact. And so we turned out to be friends finally. And I think I can only encourage everyone. This reverse mentoring is really very helpful and very useful. And I'm so grateful that people organized it for me.
Wow, that's impressive. And you said you learned a lot about culture and her religion and stuff like this. Did this reverse mentorship also give you some insights on new technologies, on you name it, AI, whatever is thrown at us in at the moment, and we have not had in our education because we were back in the analog days. So is that also something that you took from this mentorship?
I think the reverse mentoring was mainly about, both of us helping and supporting the personal growth and seeing the other side. But of course, if you talk to young techies or to graduates, and I have done this, just the whole board of JLR met young talents from industrial operations on a program we call Aspire. And this was really very interesting, because you could learn about what technologies they use, which topic they are working about, how they are interconnected, which challenges they see, what they would expect from us, what feedback they do have, which concerns they have. And I think this is always possible if you work in networks or if you have listening circles or in conversations. I think that's exactly where I try to learn new things I'm not familiar with.
Great. You just said challenges. What do you think is the most challenging aspect of a mentee and or a mentor?
First of all, I think as I said, the time restriction is something you have to overcome with your organizational structure. And secondly, you also need to find somebody where you have some good feeling. You know, the hygiene needs to be good around this. It could be quite personal at times. And thirdly, you need to know exactly what you want to accomplish with this. It's not just somebody spends half an hour without the target. I always ask my mentees, what do you expect from me? What do you want to having achieved in 3 or 4 months' time? And try to clear expectations to each other at the beginning. And I think this is really important, that it does not end in just a regular get to know and two nice people meet and talk, but I think there's always a target. But I have to say, of course, my team around me helps me a lot if it comes to organizing it, or if it comes to even topics I don't know so much. Then I have just wonderful people around me here in JLR, and I can ask if I need a network, for example. I have no experience yet, to get a little bit more insights before I meet the people, and I know even what to ask. So that's basically how I see it.
You just mentioned the time restrictions, man, being in a leadership role like you are. Do you even have the time for it? And when you said you have a team that helps you to structure it and to do some background work, but how do you incorporate that in your daily life? Because I mean, it is a busy one. Right?
Yes, as I said, I try to use every occasion to utilize time. But we also have just wonderful other leaders here. And sometimes, if I talk to somebody, digital, and I would say, do you know Pauline from my team? She's responsible for innovation and digital. And then I can also connect this two as a pair, as a mentoring pair. And so I would try to utilize all other great talent and leadership here in JLR. But of course, I try to dedicate as much as I can from my time. As I said at the beginning, it's close to my heart. And I think it's my purpose to develop people in general, but of course, especially as a woman, women in STEM areas or in manufacturing and in technical areas.
Amazing. And you just said that there is always a goal involved in a mentorship program. Um, what feedback did you get from your mentees? What did they take away? What did they value during their time with you and during this? Is there a legacy to be remembered, Barbara?
I think you had to ask probably the mentees, but what I usually always get back is what they value, because I'm not giving simple advice and I say I know everything, because that's not the case. I'm just a human being called Barbara, happen to be in the board of JLR. It doesn't mean that they know everything, but what I learn, or what they sometimes learn from my experience. So I've been always very open with my own experience, with the things which were very successful, but also with my tough days. And the tough days still are here today. It doesn't mean if you are in the board and in the mid of your 50s that everything is just pink and there is no problem and no challenge, and you never have any doubts about your capabilities. uh, I think this always continues, but I think if you share things, how they were and how you have overcome them. This is what I get back from especially younger female talent, is that they say, "Oh, this was very helpful. That you also experienced something like this, and it helps them also to overcome that and think it's normal, right? Not there is not a life which is always perfect, neither in private nor in business."
So you also really share insights in your business life as such, where you said, okay, this is where I struggled, this is where I stumbled or faced challenges. So you keep it very personal, obviously, as well, and related to your job.
Yes, I do, because after 34 years in mainly male-dominated environment, I believe it's also a little bit my obligation, because I have made it up to the top, And I think I feel obliged also to share this and help others. And I guess sharing this, uh, can change the situation completely. And also sharing how you overcame challenges, and also sharing what didn't work, and look back why it might not have worked, is sometimes really useful.
That's good. I mean, it's rare to hear because most of the time you don't want to talk about your failures and you don't want to talk about where you came short. So, but for mentorship, I think it is something that is really important as well. Um, it brings me back a little bit to the reverse mentorship. We said there are so many young people out there in their 20s and their 30s who have so much more knowledge in especially the digital space than we guys. And I think, how would you prioritize or structure this to incorporate this, or how do you do this at JLR? If so, to give them a voice.
So we heavily work with networks and communities. And as I mentioned earlier, for example, in industrial operations, we have now our talent community called Aspire Team. It's the first cohort. And this is a very diverse team if it comes to ethnicity, to gender. For example, gender diversity was around 50%. Ethnicity was around 30%. So I was very much impressed by this experience. And we work with them. Usually this takes now 6 months, and you have different events. Just the other day, the board met them all, and we had 2 hours together with them on different topics. But we do also have, I think, we have 14 different networks if it comes to DE&I, and where we also have, conduct listening circles, network meetings with the chairs or the co-chairs, events, celebrations. And that's what we do in a very structured way, mainly with the background of improving DE&I, but not only, because DE&I is, of course, also helping us to increase innovation and performance in the business. So I think it's very strongly interlinked.
Great. Is that 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 program, is that something that is like led by JLR for like as a mandatory program? Because until recent years, mentorship and programs like this were on a very informal basis. So companies did not really, empower that. And there is statistics as well. I just looked it up just now, where they said companies that have mentoring programs had profits that were 18% better than average, and companies without mentoring programs had profits that were 45% worse than average. So when did
Yeah.
you establish this? When did the company establish this? When did you figure that it is important for career development and for empowering all employees?
I think I was just explaining, one was a talent program, the other one was a
Yeah.
networking platform, and the third thing is now mentoring. And for example, I don't know when it started. I've been here 2.5 years, and we always had it. So I guess for many years it's in place. But we have now, for example, with our Reach community, which is we had a project called Orbit, which is delivering and looking in a structured way for mentors for the Black American and American Caribbean female talents. And I think we had great success with this. And you can see a lot of these women have evolved and are now in advanced positions, and they have now the chance and the access to also more executive people through their mentorship. And I think this has been really successful. But it's also true, of course, for any other group, for women in engineering or for the armed forces network. So I think mentoring is true and helpful for everybody, not only for women, right?
Of course it is. And I like the diversity approach that you're going, because just yesterday I heard on the radio that if you want to be successful in your career, you have to be handsome. That there was studies who said that people who are attractive are way more likely to step up the career ladder than people who are not. And I think that's unfortunately also still true for people with different color, for people with different ethnic backgrounds. And therefore, I really admire that program. Can you give me a bit more of an insight on how this works and how you lead this, Barbara, please?
So you're talking about Orbit, about the mentorships.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we had the network lead, challenging me when I first came to JLR, and they said, we don't know whether we even feel represented by you because we need to see somebody who looks like us. And I said, okay, I hear you. I cannot change history, but I can definitely work with you and listen to you together with HR. And then we came up with lots of activities what would help this reach network, this talented American, Black, and Caribbean background women, right? And so we had several events, and one of the suggestions they had was create a mentoring program, and that's what we have done. And we have hundreds of enterprise leader, talented people. They were all also wanting to engage and to volunteer to help. And not only was this helping the talents, but it was also helping the mentors to learn from them and also get new perspective. And I think now, 2 years later, I have to say that the topic is much more normal and regular than it was. And it encourages me also to, again, as I said, to get out of the comfort zone and listen to what people have to say in conversation and listening circles, and to try to integrate this in your strategic initiatives.
Can you give me an example how you integrate this and how you integrate all your learnings from your mentorship journey into the business? Do you have an example where you say this is a success story?
Yeah, I think, I also have a kind of a motto. I would like to know the talents my own. I don't want to repeat what somebody told me about the person. So as I meet really lots of talents and people, of course I cannot meet all 44,000 in JLR, but I can meet a lot. And if I do an in conversation with 20 people, and you do plenty of this and other network meetings, and as I said, the project Orbit, a lot. And I think for in this example, I would also challenge if it comes to recruitment or if it comes to backfilling positions. What I would do is I would always bring my opinion as I have you considered A or B, and even if it's a disruptive idea or something which was not on the table. So I guess this is very helpful if you know the team and don't have to only look in a CV or repeat what somebody else told you.
Awesome. Barbara, I'm just conscious of time. We already talked for half an hour, which is amazing because time just flies. So I would hand it over to also our audience if there's some questions. What do you like to know? What do you like to ask, Barbara? Please raise your hands and comment and let us know. And Barbara, meanwhile, um, have you ever had a mismatch in your mentor-mentee relationship where you said, "No, this doesn't work at all. I cannot."
Yes, I had this. Basically, my first attempt when somebody offered mentorship to me, I said the first advice was against my behavior and my values. So I said, thank you very much, but I cannot agree with this advice. And sometimes I think it could also be that the mentee says, okay, maybe this is not what I wanted. And I can only say you should also look at this, because there needs to be a certain hygiene that that people can share really some very personal things in detail, right? But it's happening. I also don't like everyone in the world, and I would not share all my personal details with everybody. But of course, if there's a good relationship, it can work out nicely for both in the team, right?
100%. And you said at the beginning that you're still in touch with some of your mentees. Is this because it is so personal that you continue these relationships, and it will be a basically lifelong mentorship journey or mentor-mentee journey?
Yeah, I think so. And even from my previous companies, I sometimes get urgent Teams or WhatsApp. Oh, I'm in a process. Can we have a quick call, or the other way around? I need to know something which was in a previous company very well developed. I could always say, can you help me? How have you technically approached this? Because my goal is always at the end of and it's basically not really ending, but at the end of this formal, to create and integrate the mentees in a network, in something bigger. And usually it should be an ecosystem which is not only JLR, but it should be including supplier, including other companies. So we have done a lot, not only in automotive industry, but with tech industries, where we brought together, especially female talents, where they can also mentor each other and help each other. And that's my goal. It's not a certain activity which is closed and no contact at all. I believe you need to have a big network, and the bigger the ecosystem is outside of your company, the more your value increases, by the way. And I try to also teach this point and to connect people, and it's usually working quite nicely. So we have quite significant networks also externally with our teams.
That's brilliant. And have you seen some of your mentees step up as a mentor as well? Did they get inspired by your journey and said, "Oh, I want to do this as well. I want to give back"?
Yeah, most of the time they are already mentor, but I have another motto. It's which woman did I help today? I think this is really important. That's what I usually introduce at the beginning. I said you are now also should think about how to support this. It's a mission, it's a purpose, and usually they are very happy to give back to the community.
Great. And when we talk about women a lot, and of course we're also empowering women, but have you had a male mentee as well that was, um, you know, grateful, successful with your mentorship? Do you have
Yes, of course.
examples of this?
Yes, of course. I said I am here for everyone and for all the talents and the people in JLR. And there's a lot of male talent around, and we do a similar approach. That's not limited to any gender. No, no, that's not how we do it. But today we were mainly talking about women, but it should not leave the impression that we don't take the same care of our male talent. We do, we do.
Barbara, I just see a question coming in. Um, Steve is asking us, how do you manage your time effectively, given you're really busy, so that you're able to stay consistent with the output in the long term?
Steve, that's a very good question. It's not always easy, I have to admit, but sometimes you have to say no to things or to actively delegate things. And as I said, I have a wonderful team around me supporting me, also my leadership team, my first line, and our supporting areas, and allowing them also to step in and to contribute helps me a lot. Sometimes if I'm not available to step out, or if I'm on vacation, that I can shut off really at least for a few days, and that's what I try to do. And of course some other things like everyone's sports, outdoors, and and regular things what people do. I also like to cook, for example, and enjoy myself in order to come back tomorrow relaxed and full of energy. That's how I do it. But as I said, I'm just a human being named Barbara. I have the same challenges as everyone has.
Thank you, Barbara. Steve, we hope that answered your question. And but Barbara, are there any tools you rely on besides your very human approach and your very down to earth approach, which I admire, to be very honest. So
Thank you.
any things you
Yeah,
can recommend?
I think to be
What's
really
your
honest, huh? Sorry, Mario.
what's your toolkit? Where's the secret? Where's the magic wand?
Unfortunately, there is no magic one, but there are some really important one. As I said, you need to create a team, which is really a team. You need to work on the team capabilities, not only on technical things, but also develop the team. But of course, family and your partner plays an important role in. My husband, if he would not support me, of course, I couldn't do this, and my family and my friends. So this is really important that you have a supporting network around you, especially if you live abroad and your family is far away. So you need to create things in a different way, and I think this is a little bit of a magic support, maybe, but of course it's not the only support. There are so many smaller things which basically lead to success in the end. And if it comes to stay down to earth. For me, this has always been important that my career does not make something different out of me. And the biggest compliment is if I meet somebody I haven't seen for 20 years or 25 years, they would say, Barbara, you're still Barbara. And I say, okay, thank you so much. This is exactly what I wanted to hear, to also follow my own rules.
Great. Is this also something you tell your mentees to stay true to themselves no matter where on the career ladder they are?
Yes, I think we need to stay to our values. Otherwise, we are not happy in the long run. We need to stay true to ourselves, and we need to pick something which really excites us on a daily basis. And we need to go regularly out of our comfort zone. These are 4 or 5 sentences I have written a few years ago. Is what would I tell the younger Barbara? And I think it's still
Yes.
probably this will be staying true till I'm really very old, because that's exactly how I always treated me and my life.
Wow. Very nice. So I'm checking the time. What I want to tell our audience as well is, so if you're also interested in mentorship or being a mentee, the Women Automotive Network is having a beautiful mentorship program, and the next term starts in February already, and you applications are open. So I can only highly recommend that you join. All the information you will find in the network, and I think application deadline is end of January 24th, if I have it right. And meeting frequency every 2 to 4 weeks. You structure it by yourself, like Barbara said, either on the travel or while she's cooking or during sports. But I can highly recommend it also from my own journey with the Women Automotive Network. And I hope to see a lot of people interested in this program as well. Barbara, what's your take on this? What does that do for you? And we talked a lot about how rewarding it is for you as well, and how how much it does for your own career as well, and also for the development of others. But what's, if you want to put this in one sentence, to say mentorship does for me dot dot dot.
Mentorship is one of the things in a day which gives energy back, not drains energy.
That's a good one. And I see now our audience is getting more enticed. They are brave now. We have a question from Amna.
Oh, this
Um,
one. I think that's my wonderful Amma, right? I know her.
is
I
that?
can tell you she's fantastic.
She says she's really enjoying this conversation, and they are on a journey to support all women and give intersectionally a better focus in the automotive industry. So it's a compliment to you, Barbara. So Barbara has begun fantastic with supporting this through initiatives like the Project Orbit in JLR, as mentioned. And she's asking, what more do you believe we can do to improve equity in that process so no group is left behind? Wonderful question. I like that.
Yeah, and it's not an easy one, but I knew if she asks a question, it's usually a challenging question, which I take. I think if it comes to a simplified answer, I would say, the rule is women find more women. The more diverse leadership team find more diverse talent. So I think the more we advance in DE&I, the more we will advance in this process that no group will be left behind. And the second thing is, everyone should see somebody successful, somebody who looks like them, right? Whether it's ethnicity or whether it's gender or whether it's LGBT plus. I guess we need to represent all these DE and I categories in the executive leadership, and then things will move much more faster than previously.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. It's everyone, but Barbara, to be very honest, we are in the automotive world. I have to say, we are struggling with having a balanced male-female, yeah, leadership teams. How can we achieve everything else? To have everything present there that you just mentioned. That's an even bigger task.
Yeah, as I said, and this is not coming overnight. I have been working on this since I've been in business, so 34 years, and I'm still not finished. Unfortunately, I guess we should follow our direction and follow our path. And I can only say here for JLR, we have reached a lot in only 2.5 years. What I can see, because I cannot talk about times I haven't experienced. I think keep on pushing on what you believe, on your values, on your DE&I categories, give yourself targets, evaluate the teams against the targets, correct. And finally, I think it's not which program you have, what you're talking about. Finally, it comes to one thing: which decision do you make? Do you really nominate a woman or somebody with a different ethnicity to the board? Or you keep on just talking about it, right? That's what I see. I only really evaluate people about their actions in the end, because there's a lot of DE and I talks everywhere. Finally, it's important who gets the position, not who was in the process or who was in a program.
Very true words. We have 2 more minutes to go. If the audience has any more questions, the time is now. And Barbara, I'm really enjoying that talk with you. And you said we have to just push it through and to just do it. Do you think that women are a bit more empathic when it comes to that? Are we a bit more open to all of this than our male counterparts, or is this another cliche that everybody is riding on?
It could be a cliche, I don't know, but I know a lot of women who can accommodate a lot of things in the same time, whether it's private, business, and everything. I think we are very capable, but I also believe that men are very capable. So I don't want to put us, you know, over other talents. I think if we, and actually, what I haven't said, not even once, which I always say, we need allies, right? If we hadn't
Yes.
this wonderful male colleagues and bosses and direct reports, we couldn't do anything. So thank you to all the men in this call and to everyone supporting us, because we couldn't do anything without them. And I encourage everyone, we need allies, right?
True that. I fully support that. And yeah, so anything you want to add to conclude this wonderful, wonderful discussion we had this afternoon. Barbara, anything you really want to get off your chest and how you want to close our session?
I think everything is out of my chest. Maybe I find out in 10 minutes time that I forgot something, but then it's too late. No, thank you so much. Actually, it was also one of the sessions which gave really energy back, because I see that you are very much engaged. You offer to the communities, they can apply for a mentorship program. So apply, and I find this very good. And I can only thank you for your engagement, the Women Automotive Network. I think it's great, and I hope that it grows and grows and grows to one of the biggest network ever. I feel very much attached to it. Thanks for having me. It was a real honor, pleasure, and it was a lot of fun to talk to you, Marion, and find out that you're also Bavarian like me, which I didn't know. Somebody in Dubai I would not have expected. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you. It was a real pleasure speaking to you as well. And yeah, and I hope that the audience enjoyed it as much as we did. So I give you one more chance to slot in your questions if there's any. And other than that, I can just again say thank you, and thank you, Barbara, for being with us today.
Thank you. Thanks to the audience as well. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marion.